They were missing the Mets game.
Oh, that, yes. That is more removed.
I call the regular board meeting to order. All members of the board are present. Ms. Fletch, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Excuse me. May I have a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss employment matters related to particular persons? Mr. Beelan, Ms. Fletch, any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
grateful for it. Happy for him. Oh,
May I have a motion to return the regular board meeting to public session? Dr. Spicer, Dr. Singh, all in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Please be advised that in the event of a fire emergency and an evacuation should be necessary, an alarm will sound. Please note all marked emergency exits and evacuate well away from the building. At this time, we request that everyone turn their cell phones and other electronic devices silent. Thank you. Dr. Brown Hall, turn it over to you
I'll just give a water.
for recognition.
Thank you very much, President Kazmarek Bogner. First, business students and art students at Williamsville North High School came together to design and paint a new mural for the Hotspot, the school's student-run cafe. With classes acting as both business owners and marketing specialists, this experience gave students a taste of what it's like to work in the real world. Williamsville North Principal Mr. Andrew Bowen is here to share more about this interdepartmental collaboration.
Thank you so much. And Allison and Tracy, if you want to join. Good evening. Here is what I know. Anytime that you can bring two different groups of students together to work on a project where student voice and choice is honored, great things will happen. This is the case when our business department and our art department, under the direction of Tracy Weiss and Allison Mora, collaborated to bring to life one of North's iconic institutions, the Hotspot. I'm going to introduce you now to both Tracy and Allison, who have a few words to share with you.
Hi. So first off, we'd like to thank you guys for all giving us this opportunity at Williamsville North to kind of make the Hotspot our own and to work and collaborate last year with the art department. It's something that we've been long waiting to do, and we love the opportunity and invite you guys all to our grand opening in a couple of weeks. But this was a really great opportunity for our students to be able to work together with people and to see really what the business world is like.
Thanks, Tracy. Good evening, everyone. I'm Allison Moore. I'm one of the art teachers at North. We are so excited to be able to give students the opportunity to have a real world design experience and be able to apply some of the things they've learned in our classes in a way that they might do as adults in the profession of branding, marketing, design, graphic design. So we're very excited to share with you their finished product and our collaboration with the business department.
Awesome. Thank you.
Very good. Please enjoy this video.
I need one Spartan roast.
With the Hotspot reopened, getting a new space, we wanted to do something that reflected that new change. A student had suggested the idea of, can we paint the Hotspot? And we realized that the art department has amazing students out there who are creative, that could create something that would be a reflection of the Hotspot. They had to think of what they want the Hotspot to look like. It had to match our brand, our image that we've already established for the last 25 years.
In class, there was a whole process deciding what we were going to do. So I was part of the marketing team, and a lot of that went into it was, what color do we want to do? What kind of design? Do we want it to be flashy, more modern, And that came with a lot of challenges and questions we had to answer. Could we do it with the budget and stuff like that?
This was meant to simulate what it would be like if you were working in a marketing agency, an advertising agency, if you had to hire an artist. We met to discuss color, composition, meaning, message, everything that the client wanted. And there was funds provided from the Hotspot proceeds that were given to us to, use. We all had a budget we had to follow. We talked about hourly wage. We talked about materials cost. We talked about timelines.
We talked with the business students, and they wanted something kind of to embody coffee, since it is the Hotspots where you get your coffee and breakfast. And we had different design ideas, some with more geometric shapes, some with more flowy shapes. Once we kind of figured out the direction they wanted to go and the direction we wanted to go, we were able to combine all of our ideas together, and it worked out well in the end. I feel really good about it that we were able to work with them and share this for the school, and hopefully it'll get to stay up for a long time.
I had confidence going in that our art students would do great. I think it's a real good thing to have. Really sparks up this area of the school well and shows what we're about at the Hotspot. More importantly, it's the school community. You know, we work together, we support each other, we have each other's backs, and anything's possible.
The students are so open and so enthusiastic about being able to work together to leave their mark on the place that they call theirs. When they got finished, we said, you know, when you come back for your high school reunion, you're probably going to see this mural and know that other generations see it and enjoy it and, you know your investment.
It's a way that students are able to leave their mark at Williamsville North, and something that they'll remember and hopefully reflect on in the future. It's something that when I see it every day, I smile.
That is indeed awesome. And we had the pleasure, the Board of Education had the pleasure of visiting Ms. Mora's art class yesterday on school visits. So thank you very much. And I think last night at the Williamsville North PTSA meeting, I was actually put down for a shift working at the snack.
Need volunteers.
Mr. Bowen and I are working a shift together. So yeah, exciting. Great thing going on at Williamsville North. Our next recognition is also from Williamsville North. Last year, 4 students made a 3-minute short in their animation class. I'm thrilled to share that their animated short was submitted to and accepted by the Buffalo International Film Festival and will be shown during their Next Gen event on Saturday, October 12th at 2 p.m. at Journeys End Cinema. Art teacher Allison Mora and senior Zelda Abramovich are here to introduce their animated short titled DMV.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Zelda Abramovich, and unfortunately, I'm the only student who's able to be here tonight to share with you this animation. But by no means does this mean that I was the only student who worked on it. This is a proud collaboration and the hard work of Ike Ninji, Harlem Crowell, Emma Aragena, and myself. And I'm so proud of what we have all created. This short that you're going to see, this is stop motion, which means that every frame is an individual photo that was stitched together through the hard work of all of us together. However, this is not just a film. It's an expression of the joy in our life and the result of a true friendship between young artists. But none of this would have been possible without Miss Mora, who's here today and you all saw earlier. She's always been there to support all of her students. She's the kind of teacher that one day I will tell my children, I hope they have a teacher like her who knows that they can soar. But before I show you this, I have a request for everyone. Please, please keep art in your mind. I'm a student who doesn't play sports or an instrument. My home is these art classrooms with these people. I don't make decisions. I don't understand all the nuances that you all deal with every day, but I ask you to understand what these programs mean to me, to us. I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be who I am today without them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Forgive me for mispronouncing your last name. I apologize. The film? Awesome.
Oh, that's great.
That was awesome. Great work. Great job. I also want to acknowledge our director of art, Jamie Pitnell. So do you want to say anything, Jamie, about the wonderful work taking place in these art classes?
I think Mr. Bowen said it well too, that having collaborations between business and art, and then also seeing this was actually last year was the first year that animation was offered as a course here in Williamsville. Ms. Moore was our pilot program for it, and to have a group of our students be able to come back and be moving forward into this film festival with it is just such a brevity of its success, and congratulations again to the group. And I love hearing that art is making such an impact
Absolutely.
on our students' lives. Thank you
Awesome.
so much.
Thank you. This is phenomenal. Finally, tonight we are always proud to see our students represent Williamsville wherever they go. At the end of this month, one student will be representing not just our district, but our country as well. Williamsville East junior Ashi Parashur will be traveling to Portugal as a member of Team USA to compete in the World Karate and Kickboxing Tournament. Earlier this year, she won the regional qualifier in St. Louis, then secured a spot on Team USA by winning the national qualifiers tournament in Detroit. Ashi is currently training, but please welcome Ashi's mom, Joycina, as we wish her luck at the International Festival. I hope I didn't mess up your name too bad.
That's fine. You can call me Joe.
Okay, Joe.
Just wanted to thank you, Williamsville School District, for doing this for her. It means a lot to her. I wish she could have been here, but she's training right now.
I get it.
Yeah, so she's in Hamilton right now. So I hope she scores and she wins a medal for us, for our country, and make us all proud.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Hi,
as
I'm
I,
Ashi
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look at all those trophies.
Hi, I'm Ashi Farasher, and I'm representing USA at the World Karate and Kickboxing Commission. I'm excited. I'm nervous as well, but super excited. It was so cool. I couldn't believe it when it first happened, and then it kind of like registered. I was like, oh my goodness, like I just did that. I've been doing it since I was 3. But I think it kind of started when I started winning. I was like, oh wait, I'm kind of good at this, and I kind of just started doing it even more. This one's from a tournament called the US Open in Orlando, Florida, and it's like the biggest tournament in the country for karate and stuff. This is my gold medal for that one. And then this was my first place medal for my qualifier to get to nationals. And then this is my medal from nationals. I had a hip surgery in December, so it was kind of like my comeback because I didn't know if I'd be able to continue competing after my hip surgery. So being able to do that after was definitely a super cool moment. I also coach, I also teach, so I feel like it's the kids that I teach, kind of like being a role model to them. And also it's just showing what I can do. It makes me feel really proud of what I've done, but also I'm really excited to do more and hopefully maybe the Olympics, but we'll see where that goes.
That's awesome. And I'm also pleased to say that our summer interns and the communications department helped put all these pieces together. So
wow.
Isn't that great? And they're our students. Wonderful. So tonight, I also want to take a moment to thank our Board of Education for the work they've been entrusted to oversee in our district. Next week, October 14th through the 18th, is School Board Recognition Week. All 9 members of our board are volunteers. While we have our board meetings each month, there's a lot of time, energy, and effort put in by all board members to ensure student success. Our board members dedicate themselves to our students, families, faculty, and staff on a daily basis. They are informative and responsive to our community, transparent and honest in their interactions with stakeholders. Please join me in thanking and recognizing our Board of Education for their tireless work to ensure we are doing everything we can for our school community and upholding our mission and vision on a daily basis. Thank you very much, board members. I turn it back over to you, Board President.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the recognition. Are there any board acknowledgements this evening? Dr. Spicer?
I just wanted to highlight and recognize the SEPSA Family Social that took place, and I had to open my calendar because I had to make sure I got the date right on September 26th. It was at the Maple West Playground. The turnout was absolutely phenomenal. I'm terrible at guessing crowd numbers, but well over 30 people were there. They had a lot of interactive activities, a lot of chance for kids and families to get to know each other and to just have fun together. So it's great. I've been to the last several of these, and this was just one of the best turnouts I've seen. So kudos to the group.
Thank you. Are there any others? Mr. Bueland?
Yes, I just wanted to wish those people who celebrate Jewish New Year a happy and healthy New Year, I'm sure, on behalf of the board.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're moving on to public expression. I call on Ms. Bleckinger to review our public expression format.
Oh, okay. Welcome to all who have come to observe this regular board meeting. For Policy 1510, the board allows for up to 30 minutes of public comment, a time when we invite members of our school community to share ideas, opinions, and concerns with us. While we are here to listen carefully and we take your concerns seriously, public comment is not designed to be a discussion. Therefore, please do not expect us to respond tonight. Instead, you will receive a response by email after our meeting. Because we want to maintain mutual respect and civility, please ensure that comments are delivered in a respectful manner to the board directly. Also, under state and federal privacy laws, we are unable to entertain any comments related to employee personnel information or any topic that may disclose information about a particular student. On these matters, we ask that you go through the appropriate administrative channels. Please note that individuals are required to sign up prior to our meeting, and each speaker is allotted 3 minutes for comments. You will be signaled at 2.5 minutes so that you may conclude your remarks. At this time, we will begin public comments. After I call on you, please step up to the podium and state your name. Carolyn Gorzinski.
Hello, my name is Carolyn Nugent-Gorzinski. My oldest son is a student with a disability and a freshman at North High School. I have previously addressed the board about my concerns with the district's special education programming and services. I'm here tonight again to bring my concerns to the board's attention. I will speak at every board meeting and any other public comment opportunity about my long-term unaddressed concerns with the district's failure and refusal to develop and offer appropriate in-district continuum of standards-based education, special education programs and services until such time that I see tangible, meaningful action by the district to actually address these very real concerns. I will encourage all other parents and constituents to join me in my call for answers and action. It is honestly disheartening and unbelievable. I'm here again. It is well known within this district and to this board that I and many other parents and constituents have addressed their respective concerns that the district does not offer appropriate in-district standards-based special education programs and services, especially at the high school level. It is well known to this board and current administration that a review of the district's special education programming was conducted, and the district was found to have a gaping hole in its continuum of special education programming, particularly the lack of a standards-based high school program. The results of this review recommended that the district place high priority on the development of this program. Here we are, a year and a half past the issuance of the review report, and we are no closer to a standards-based special education program in district than the day that report was issued. I have attended every single SEAC meeting, and I can tell you with confidence, we are no closer. In fact, I almost feel like we're further away. To say I'm frustrated is an understatement. As a board and administration, you owed my son and you owe our community more. Not one person in this district can explain why a school district of our size, population, and tax base does not offer a single standards-based special education program anywhere in this district. These programs are available widely throughout Western New York, in districts that have less population, less financial ability to provide them, and are much smaller. These districts include Clarence, Orchard Park, Frontier, Hamburg, Buffalo, and the list goes on. As a taxpayer and a mother who is watching her child suffer because of the failures that has gone on in this district for far too long, I want answers and I want action. I will not stop speaking out until I see both. Thank you, and I'll see you next month.
Thank you, Carolyn.
End of public expression. Thank you, and thank you for your comments. I am moving on now to item 4B. I turn it over to Dr. Brown Hall and Mr. Kelly for our external audit presentation.
Thank you very much, Board President. And so we have representatives from Drescher and Malecki who will come up to present our audit findings.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amy. I was the senior auditor on the audit for this year's district audit 6/30/2024. So I oversaw all of the day-to-day activity of the audit. I'm here to just kind of give a brief presentation on the findings for that. So the first thing I'm going to go over are the products of our audit. So there's 4 main products to our audit. The main one is the basic financial statements. So these are based on the numbers that we are provided by the district, and we compile them into a financial statement, and then it includes 3 opinions that we provide. So the first is on the numbers themselves. So that is an unmodified opinion for this year, meaning those are free from material misstatement. The second is towards the back of the financial statements is an opinion on the government auditing standards, and we review the internal controls of the district to make sure that they are appropriate. For the current year, we found no problems or issues on any of that. The last opinion is on the district's single audit or the federal awards that they received during the year. We test any of the programs that you guys receive, and we issued a clean opinion on this as well. The second item is a management letter. So we utilize this to provide any best practices for internal controls or anything for the district, as well as any future governmental accounting standard pronouncements. For the current year, there was nothing significant, so we are not issuing a management letter for the current year. The next item is the auditor communication letter. So we provide a letter each year that just lists out a few things that we're required to communicate. We did go through that more in detail with the audit committee before this, but this would include any significant items that we would be required to communicate with you guys, as well as our independence from the district and what our requirements are for the audit, as well as what yours are. And then the last item is the extra classroom activity report. This is just a small report that gets issued for the district based on the cash basis activity for your extra classroom clubs and activities that you guys have that have the student involvement. So next we're going to get into some of the numbers a little bit more. So this first chart shows a 5-year trend for the revenues and expenditures for the district. So you'll see, looking more specifically towards the 2023-24 year, revenues saw an increase from last year, largely as a result of an increase in interest earnings, which most places are seeing as the interest rates have kind of gone up from the prior years. And then the additional one is state aid. So there were some increases in state aid funding that were received compared to the prior year. And then at the same time, the expenditures saw an increase as well, but those are largely just based on costs going up, salaries going up, everything that you kind of anticipate that would increase. So the current year revenues were about 231 million with the expenditures at about 215 million. So that net difference of 16 million is the fund balance increase from the prior year, which we're going to look at a little bit more detail in the next slide. So again, this just kind of lists out the past 5 years and what the fund balance has looked like for those years. Looking from 2022-23 to 23-24, you can see that $16 million increase. So that top number of 106 million is the total fund balance for the year. So that largest portion in red, that 92 million, is restricted fund balance for the district. So this can only be used for specified reasons that you guys come up with. So capital projects, retirement, anything of that nature. And then that last amount in blue, that 14 million, is anything unrestricted for the district, which we'll kind of detail a little bit more on the next slide. So like I said, this kind of breaks down the unrestricted section into two different things. So the top one, that 5 million, is the portion that is assigned. So most of that is the assigned for next year's budget. So that's the majority of that. And then the rest is the encumbrances that were rolled over from the prior year. That remaining 9 million is unassigned fund balance for the district. So that's anything remaining that has no specified use. And that is the portion that's subject to the real property tax law limits, which I'll point out again on the next slide. On this next one, you'll see the past 4 years of the district's unassigned fund balance. So the district has remained at that limit of 4% for that tax law for the past 4 years shown here. We just like to include this for transparency purposes of staying within that 4% tax law limit. So that is basically all we really have. We want to thank the staff for everything they did to get this audit done. Everything went smooth, everything went well. We issued an unmodified clean opinion on the financial statements, which will go out later this week. And then this last slide has my information as well as Carl, who is the partner on the jobs information. If any questions come up while you guys are reviewing things, please feel free to reach out to us and we can answer those. Thank you.
Thank you. I do turn it back over to you, and then you're going to turn it back over to me. Great.
So thank you. And I turn it back over to you for the community update.
Well, thank you, Board President.
You're welcome.
Community update for October 8th, 2024. One moment, colleagues. I just want to find one of these at work. Now, one of these have to work. All right. Okay, we'll go to the next slide, please. I appreciate it. Oh, okay. Let's try the beginning. There we go. So first and foremost, I want to thank our community members that came out on this past Saturday for our community forum. So the Board of Education holds a community forum, one in the fall, one in the spring. And it allows our community members, our parents, our neighbors, our students, our teachers to come and ask questions of the board and have interaction with the board. Because as you know, here at Public Expression, we do not respond at these meetings, but we do at the community forum. So there was a lot of great discussion at the community forum. We spoke about bus shuttles for sports. We spoke about class size. We spoke about the responsibilities of the board. And it was very, very insightful at last night's North PTSA meeting. Board member Fletch took a moment to really talk to the PTSA about what the board does and what they don't do. because a lot of times people come to the community forum thinking the board should do X, Y, Z, but it's not really in the purview of the board. So it was very helpful that she clarified that. And it's very helpful so that when people come to the community forum, our board members explain what they know, where we're at with certain situations, but also what the role of the board is in those situations. But I thought we had a great community forum, very well attended, and a lot of great discussion that took place on Saturday. Next, we had on October 1st, Bob Hess came to our district and he spoke to our administrators. He spoke to some board members that attended. We also had superintendents and some of their staff members from other school districts attend. So Mr. Hess is a former middle school principal, and he really speaks about safety and security in the understanding that he actually lived through an incident where he was actually held hostage by a parent that entered his school with a gun. And so he talks about that entire ordeal, but then he gives reminders of what we should be looking out for and how we can strengthen our security and safety in our school buildings. He was very, very pleased to see how we have our vestibules, our holding spots, all the security enhancements that we've put in place. But again, there are other superintendents that were also there that were being very mindful of what they need to do also. So we appreciate Mr. Hess coming and sharing his experiences with us. I want to say thank you. We still have some retired interim administrators working in our district. We have Mr. Gil Licata at Hine Middle School. We have Kevin Lester at South High School in the AP/AD role. We have Dr. Cassandra Wright working as the interim principal at Country Parkway, and Cesar Marchioli is an acting assistant principal at North High School. We are at the following phases in our interviews for open positions. At North High School, the assistant principal position, that interview has been completed. Mr. Patrick Smith will be presented to the board this evening for approval. At Country Parkway, we are in the final round of our principal interviews for Country Parkway. For the High Middle School assistant principal position, we just finished application review, and we will be scheduling those interview dates. And for the South High School AP/AD position, we will have round 1 on October 16th. So as you see, this is all summer long into the school year too. We want to make sure we get the very best administrators for our vacant positions. Our digital resource survey has opened on Wix. So the New York State Education Department collects information regarding internet access and digital device use in the homes. Now, the goal is to gain a better understanding of digital equity in New York State. So parents and guardians are asked to complete a survey for each student in their home. Now, it's not a very long survey. It's a short survey, but it is for every student in the home. And that survey is available on Wix, and that started today. School start times. Everyone knows who's been in the district, our board up for sure knows, but we last year formed a school start time committee to review the current research on what are appropriate start times and when and how we get better performance from our students and when they really perform better in school based on start times. So all of last year, we studied the research. Keith Boardman is our principal of South High School. He is the chairperson of this committee, and now they have scheduled their focus groups. We had over 260 individuals that applied and were interested in the focus groups. We held a lottery. Now we have notified everyone that will be on the focus groups, and the teacher focus group is Tuesday, October 22nd. The students focus group is Monday, October 28th, and parent group 1 is the 29th, and parent group 2 is the 30th. And so we will be meeting with those groups to share and receive additional information. Everyone that is part of the focus groups have already been notified, and board member Poulin will be speaking with the SIAC students at our first meeting on October 30th to get input from the SIAC students also. Our district will be hosting a family flu clinic on Monday, October 21st in the KC Middle School cafeteria from 4:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Please bring your insurance card if you are interested. And we are partnering with UB for the Spirit Day at UB. So Williamsville Central School District Spirit Day and Kids Day at UB is this Saturday, October 12th at 12 o'clock p.m. It is UB versus Toledo. All students and all faculty and staff get one free complimentary ticket. Additional tickets will be at a discounted price of $12, and that is the number for UB if you have any questions. There'll also be a reptile show, face painting, balloon artists, a photo station, bounce houses, and more. So see your Wix mail or newsletter for a link to secure your tickets, and be sure to wear your school colors. Last but not least, we are always looking for qualified people who want to work any of these positions. We still have career opportunities available for cleaners, custodians, teacher aides, substitute teachers, food service, and clerical. Many of you remember, because it was reported out last year, we were also hurting in many of these areas, and we are very pleased to say with a new negotiated contract with the WARP unit, and with our food service workers, we have really seen an increase of applicants, and we've done a great amount of hiring for those positions, and we're very proud of that. Last year, we began the school year with how many teacher aide vacancies, Dana, about last school year?
90,
And how many do we have currently vacant?
30.
So that shows promise. We're moving in the right direction, and we'll be working hard to get those positions filled also. So thank you for our Human Resources Department. Not only do they have a busy summer staffing teachers, reviewing applications for administrators, but also for our teacher aides, our food service, and our clerical positions. So our Human Resources Department has been doing a lot of work, and we appreciate that. Any questions, board members? I turn it back over to our board president. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Brown-Hall. So we are now on item 6A. As Dr. Brown-Hall mentioned just a moment ago, our community forum was held on Saturday, October 5th. I would just like to echo the thank you to the students and families and staff who joined us for that event. Yesterday, our board members visited North, AIM, and Casey to tour the buildings and to observe the classroom instruction. So thank you to all involved in those tours as well. Are there any comments or questions regarding these or other events and meetings listed in board docs from board members? We will move on then to item 6B. Item 6B, we have a draft of the student board member committee charter. And I'd just like to clarify that according to our policy 2210, only less than a quorum of board members may be assigned to that committee. And the committee will be advisory for the purpose of enlisting opinions of students, principals, counselors, and individual board members. So are there any questions or comments regarding the student board member committee charter? Mr. Bulin.
Yes, I think that we as the board should pick the method that the committee is going to use. I'm not married to any one of the methods, but I think we as the board should pick the method and then let the committee do its work. And then we should come back and they come back with their findings and we vote on that.
So the charter as it's written currently has the committee meeting about which of those 6 methods that are outlined. Yeah, I'm just want to explain this. So each of the 6 potential methods that are outlined by the law, and then having the committee chair, Vice President Poulin, reporting back to the board about what their comments are regarding that. Ultimately, the board can accept or reject the opinions of the committee. We do make that decision. It's a matter of whether or not we want to get the opinions of those folks before we make that decision. Ms. Vice President Poulin.
I would just like to say that I think it's imperative that we have the opinions of the students and the administrators and staff of the high schools involved in choosing one of those 6 ways of getting our students, because they are intimately involved with that process. And unless we have them involved with the process from the beginning, we are not going to have their buy-in to that. Unless we are going to figure out some way to have all of the students apply directly to the school board and the school board do all of the work, we are relying on the schools to do something. And so I think it's imperative that they have a voice in the choosing of that process and what they can manage. So we have to hear from them from the beginning.
Well, I understand that. But here's my problem. We're sort of under the gun time-wise. And if what happens when or if we disagree and then we're like, oh my God, we don't have time. We disagree with what they find or they choose. And then we don't have time to remedy it, change it. I think that I understand the buy-in thing, but isn't it our job to sort of set forth the procedure? And then, I mean, like as the elected body, don't we make those decisions and then give the parameters to the committee? And then,
Well, the parameters have been given to us by the governor.
right. And
Those are the parameters that we're operating under.
So typically when we do have a board committee, it's for advisory purposes. So again, it's just a matter of, do we want to have them advising both on that first part of the process, which is to help in the selection of one of those 6 methods. And then again, it would come to the board for the decision. The board still makes the decision. It's just a matter of whether we want those opinions. I'd like to hear what other board members think. Does anyone else have any? Dr. Singh?
Again, I think
Pull your microphone closer.
we are, I think, limited to 4 members on the committee, and all 9 of us have an opinion on this matter. So it makes sense to have a discussion on the board table on what method we choose, because like what Stuart mentioned, what if the board doesn't agree on what the committee recommends?
And that's when we would, if we move forward with having the advisory opinion first, then at that time, which I believe I outlined it in the charter.
December.
So it would be at the December meeting, we could have that discussion at the table. We would hear the recommendations of the committee, and then we could have that discussion at the table and make a decision as the board, whether we want to follow those recommendations, that advisory opinion, or if we wanted to go with a different method. In the end, we still get to choose. It's just a matter of whether we want that advisory opinion first.
No, the
Doc-
point, sorry.
Go ahead.
The point was like what Stuart just said. What we come back in December with an idea to have XY method, and we have to do it by March before the school elections, right?
Right. So at that point, once we, at the December meeting, would make the decision, and then it would go back to the committee, and they would have the remainder of December, January, and the beginning of February to work on the actual detailed steps of whichever of those options we choose as a board. So there is, I tried to outline it such that there would be time for both things to occur, that we could get the opinion of the committee to begin with, make the decision at the board table, go back to the committee, comes back to the board table. Again, the board ultimately has the decision. And Dr. Spicer, I saw you had your hand up. Did you have something to share?
I did. I think everybody's making really wonderful points. For me, language is really important. So when I look at the draft charter, what I appreciate about this group is that we're streamlining the research that needs to go into this. So I am all about benchmarking. So my thought is that the group would benchmark other school boards, their processes. So when they're making recommendations, we would also have a rationale to go with those recommendations. I also really appreciate language because in point 3, the group's preferred option and that lovely S in parentheses options. So my thought is to your point, Mr. Bueland, which is a very valid one, and you, Dr. Singh, we're all very invested in this, but I would expect I would see a rank order, or I would see different options with a rationale with them so that we could have a dialogue around those for the sake of time to move things forward so that we would have more than one choice from the group.
Yes, Mr. Manna.
Thank you. And thank you for the work in providing the charter. I believe in empowering the students in this choice. And the best way to empower the students is to give them a clear direction from the elected officials up here as to what method we choose. I think it's just too much work and not enough time to do the work to research all 6 methods. We're elected to make decisions. And we talk about involving students. Every decision we make involves students. To hire a teacher, to provide tenure to a teacher, the budget directly impacts students. We don't have a dozen meetings with a dozen students on these issues. This is a representational form of government. We make the decisions. I don't understand, respectfully, Madam President, how you took the majority vote of this board last month to be involved in this process from the very beginning and used a board policy to really ignore the majority vote of this board, the majority wishes of this board. I think that this board has not only the power, but the duty to find the method and then empower the stakeholders to figure out how they're going to carry out our direction. I will not be supporting this. Furthermore, I think that you have misinterpreted the board policy by which you created this committee. The way I look at this 22.10, and I don't know if there's any way to call it up on the screen. There's 3 separate paragraphs in here, and I think you've combined them, and I think they stand separately. From what I understand, you're looking at the first part says the board and or the president of the board may at its discretion establish committees for the purpose of undertaking a specific task in connection with the board activity. These committees, however, cannot make legal decisions for the entire board. We're fine with having the board or the presidents creating this committee, but it shouldn't be limited to 4. I don't know why you want to discount the vote and the wish of the board from the last meeting to have everyone involved. It's no extra work. You called an open meeting. It's subject to the open meetings law. And I think if you're going to involve students, you should involve them in open meetings law. It's one of the foundations of what the democratic process is all about.
Well,
in the second paragraph, I just want to finish 22.10. At the request of the board, the president shall appoint temporary committees consisted of less than a quorum of the full membership for special purposes. These committees shall be discharged on the completion of their assignment. The president of the board shall be an ex officio member of such committee. At the request of the board, the president shall appoint a temporary committees consisting of less than a quorum. I don't recall the board authorizing the president to create such a committee. The last part is the Board of Education recognizes that it may be necessary from time to time to authorize advisory boards for the purpose of listing opinions and counsel of the general public. Such committees may be appointed by the Board of Education. The board has the right to accept, modify all or part of the committee recommendation. So it seems to me it was kind of blended, these 3, I think, separate and distinct articles under 2210. And the effect of that intent, and I'm not saying you did it intentionally. I mean, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm accusing you of doing it intentionally. But the effect is that you have really discounted what, and this is the last thing I'm going to say this time. Discounted the wish and the vote and the hands that were raised at the last meeting to say who wants to be involved in this committee. I think 7 or 8 people raised their hand. You even mentioned drawing names out of a hat, which, you know, I don't care about being on the committee. I care about the rights of the board to be in the committee. So that's all I have to say for now.
okay, I will just respond to that. Maybe my reading of the policy is different than your reading. I know that at the last meeting, initially we had talked about having less than a quorum because historically that was the way it had been done. Then after the meeting, I looked at the policy, and the way that I read the policy is that when we have a committee, a board committee, which is what I believe we had determined we were going to create at the last meeting, that was my understanding. And again, if my understanding was incorrect, I apologize. But I looked at the committee policy, and then I used a template from NYSBA in terms of creating the committee charter that fell in line with, I thought, what the conversation was at the last meeting and with our policy, knowing that we would bring it to the table. And if we choose as a board tonight to make that initial decision about the method, then we absolutely will do that. It's the board's decision. Yeah, and I agree. And it is the board's decision.
Board decision, what are you saying? Just because sometimes on the method, on the one.
If tonight and we can take this to a vote if we're done having discussion, once everyone who wants to have a discussion about this, we can take a vote as to whether or not the board will choose that method before sending it to the committee. Are you still in agreement that you want the committee?
I want the board to choose the one of the 6 methods and then send it to a committee, which can be less than a quorum, to figure out how they're going to proceed from there. Because the board's involvement, depending on which we choose tonight, might be 0. Because one of the methods is the superintendent chooses. Another method is, there's an election. There's so the board's involvement could be 0 or could be more than 0, depending on what we choose. What I'm saying is that, again, I think we empower the stakeholders more if we come up with the decision of, we want you to go with this method. That way it's clear. So I don't know where we go from there. I don't know if we table this, and I'm not making a motion to table, but I'm saying to lay this on the table until the November meeting, and the board then does their own research and comes up with whatever method they think is best, and we take a vote. I'm just kind of like, throwing this out there. That way we're not too far behind the curve. We're only a month behind. We could even, under another board policy, 1520, call a special meeting. We could do this a week from now, a special meeting, and give you 1 week to do your homework, and then determine it then. That way we're still ahead of the game.
I don't know if this would be appropriate, but I'm wondering if it would make sense to make a motion to amend the student board member committee charter to strike and I'd have to look at the paragraph number, where the committee makes that recommendation, and we could take a vote on that. And so that way we would have a decision on that tonight.
Okay, I'm confused now.
Are
you saying that you want to make a motion that we decide?
Well, I do not want to make
No, but the board makes, that we, as a board, make the decision that the board decides, and we strike that, and then we send it to the committee? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is we need to vote on whether or not to strike that part of the charter.
I just wanted to make sure I understood what you're saying.
And then make the decision tonight instead of a week from now at a special meeting or at the next regular meeting in November.
I'm with you.
I do appreciate the research that has to go into, I'd like to see what other school districts have done. I know there's some school districts near to us that currently have a student representation on their board. So I'd like to know what they're doing and what research they provided. So I'd like the opportunity to be able to do that instead of just deciding tonight on what method we should choose.
And that's fine. I guess at this point, though, we need to decide as a board whether or not we want to leave that part in the charter where it goes to committee first or not, right? Before we can move forward.
So can I make a motion to strike that, and then decide that the board, after further research, will make that decision and then send it to committee?
Well, we have to vote on it.
That's what I'm saying. That's, but I'm just.
Make the motion.
All right, I'll make it. I guess I'll make the motion.
Okay, so the motion as I understand it, and let me actually pull up.
Because the way I'll second it, and then if I may on the question.
Sure.
So it'd really be, the way I'm looking at it quickly, committee membership would stay the same. The authority would stay the same. It's really striking that point 1, A through F, striking point 2, striking 3 or amending 3 in some way. So everybody about 4. It's making recommendation to the board, then maybe keeping 4 in some fashion.
No, I mean,
it seems to me like it's like,
You would be striking 1 through 4. Let's see, hold on.
3, because 4 is about the detailed process.
3.
Yeah, you'd only be striking 1 and 2 because the 3 is researching and determining the more detailed process after the preferred option from 1. So you're only striking 1 and 2.
If the board were to research and come up with an option that would replace number 3.
No, number 3 is researching and determining a more detailed process to the preferred option from 1 above.
You got to strike S, B, M, C.
So you wouldn't, right. So you really we're striking 1 and 2, and then it would go to the committee for them to research whichever process from 1A to 4 the board decides.
Can I ask why you feel we should approve this tonight? Why don't we just approve it all and vote on it November? I'm missing something there. Why you want to amend it on the fly tonight?
I didn't say I did.
Okay.
I said
I thought-
I said someone who would make a motion to do so.
I'm withdrawing my second.
Can we table this for next board meeting when we do a
Want
research?
to make a motion to table?
I make a motion to table this to our next board meeting, November 12th.
Is there a second?
Wait, hang on 1 second. I just want to make sure.
A second, so we can move.
And at that time, we will do what? I just want to make sure I understand.
We're back to
Like, so are we? I'm a bottom line kind of
Well,
guy.
I think that we asked the president, who's creating the charter, to rewrite the charter. Probably striking what needs to be struck, and then
I'm not comfortable striking anything until we know that there's a majority on the board that wants to strike it, right?
Yeah, so by tabling it, then we can all do our research and decide what we want to do by that point, at that point.
Just so we're clear, we come back November, and then at that point, we will vote on whether we decide or the committee decides on the method, correct? Is that what we're deciding? Is that what we're tabling it for?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes?
that's my understanding.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're all perfectly clear.
I think
But then,
the fact that we'll take a month to also do some of our research to see what would be the best way going forward.
but then let's consider timeline, right? Because if you do take a month to do your research,
Right.
and then you come back and you discuss the research,
And you have to amend.
and then you're going to do what at that point? Are you going to vote on one of these processes at that point?
If the majority wants that way, yes.
All right, and then we take another month to form the committee that comes up with the detailed process. So now we're in January, right?
or December.
Well, no, because December, you have to actually, after you vote on the process in November of what process you're going to do, then we need that time to form the committee. And then the committee, they won't present to you until January.
I think
Right.
if we, I'm sorry, I think if we give them one option, it cuts a lot of the research down and still keeps us on track. Instead of them researching 6 options, 6 methods.
Now, I want to also include in here, when we're thinking about this, that we have 3 high schools. And it's going to be imperative that they use exactly the same process, or we're going to be in a world of hurt.
Yes.
So,
That's the purpose of doing that and us choosing to avoid that problem.
no, that's why I think it's important for their voices to be a part of choosing the process.
There was
All right.
definitely, sorry, go ahead.
So, all right. I sat and listened to everything. I'm just going to have one remark. Teaching from 5th grade to senior, being involved in student council, student government, DECA, multiple facets of different clubs in schools. I will say one thing. I understand both sides. I truly am on the fence. But ultimately, thinking of 3 high schools, thinking of nephews at 3 different schools and how they all think. Ultimately, I think another problem that might arise is each school coming up with a different method and wanting that different method. I look at these as, students elect president from a high school. There could be a popularity contest, there's multiple facets to it. Do I disagree with Ms. Poulin when she says the student should have a voice. Absolutely not. The student should have a voice. Yes, that's where I'm on the fence. Because the teacher on me says they need a voice. On the other hand, the teacher on me who's seen it, where division starts and then it gets all mudded down and it takes longer. I see that part too. But speaking on the government side, family members who worked in the government, ultimately, I have to agree with Mr. Manna on how we are elected officials to make tough decisions like this, to make the process move smoothly and fast in the appropriate time limit to get this done. So I see that as well. So ultimately, I think if we are the ones picking one of these, I still think the students would have somewhat of a voice if it is designed, any of these are designed in a way to give them the opportunity in that number 3, research further in that option that we pick to be involved. Am I making sense?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's why I'm kind of leaning towards if we do it.
I'm just thinking about the time.
Right. So that's
October, November. I would say there needs to be a way for you all to share what research you're doing, right? Because it'll be duplicative, much of it.
Well,
So my last recommendation would have been is if we do want to do this and go through research, I said I was going to say give it like a 2-week research process, come up with a special meeting real quick at whatever time frame and make our decision. That way we're done by November, we're implementing something in November. That would have been my suggestion.
Yeah, for me, I mean, there's some that I'm not married to at all. The selection, some I'm completely discounting because I'm only going to research really a couple of them, because I think some of them I don't think are really fit our 3 schools.
I was just going to say that I'm all for student voice, and I think we actually increase student voice by taking a lot of this off their plate and letting them examine one and going through the full process in a with more depth, I guess, is the way I would say. And Ms. Spicer wants to disagree. Dr. Spicer wants to disagree with me.
I don't necessarily want to disagree with you, though I appreciate that.
Normally you do. So this is-
I'm actually going to disagree with the collective. I don't often speak on my experience, but since Mr. Buscalia just did, I will say in my experience in governmental elections and choosing one student to represent, for example, 30,000 students, not every size fits all. So really what we're talking about, I'm not shy about doing my elected duty in this process. I read this and believe it to be that we are asking a committee to do research. And we are making the decision based on that research. We are not turning the power of the decision over to a committee to tell us what to do. And as far as student voice goes, I spend all day, every day, making sure I get the student voice, right? So I am looking at principals and students and counselors. I have very strong opinions on how we get all student voices, how we cast a wide net, and we don't just look at certain types of student leaders. Like, that's my main concern. So I don't see this concept as turning over our decision-making power as a body. I think it expedites the research process that we're talking about, because I'm realistic about the time that we all have to do that research. So even if we just researched a few of the options, my concern is, that there are multiple options we have a duty to look at if we're taking the research on ourselves, and that students as well as administrators and counselors and teachers have the right to also see all of the different options as well if we're going to give them a voice and represent them appropriately. So that's what I wanted to share.
I think that everybody here had a very valid point, and I could fall on either side of this. I really could. But again, I'm going to go back to, we're elected, we make decisions, and we empower the stakeholders to go from there. So just back to where we are here. So there was a motion to table and then a second. I'm just playing it out. If we vote to table,
There were 2 motions.
There were 2 motions. Mr. Spiegel, I can speak today. You made a motion about.
I was giving a suggestion. I never said I was making a motion.
Mr. Bueller, I thought it was your motion to amend.
Which didn't have a second, as I recall.
We motion to,
The initial motion, I believe, was to strike 1 and 2 from this draft charter. And then Mr. Manna said he seconded, and then he said he was not going to second that. And then the next motion was Dr. Singh motioning to table it.
which I seconded. Because you also have to, in this charter, change, the reporting dates. Because here under 5, by November 12th, the chair to provide an update on the progress of the board. No later than December 10th, chair to provide a recommendation to the board on options 1 through F. So we can change that because we're going to give them the option. So it has to be, rewritten.
That motion.
Obviously if the motion carries.
And assuming you all agree on the method.
Well, we're going to agree because there's going to be a vote. So there's going to be 5 votes.
Agree.
Right. That right.
So majority.
Hopefully there will be a majority for at least one of those.
My intent is to come up with a method, and I'm not going to stand in any high ground to not have this. My vote will be determinative. I'm not going to not vote on a method because I don't like the method. I want this to move along, but I want us choosing the method.
So maybe the best option is what Mr. B suggested.
I was going to say
That we
I'll make the motion for 2 weeks.
And we make a motion that we have a special meeting in 2 weeks we do our research, and then we meet in 2 weeks to make a final determination. Maybe that's the best course of action.
Talking about amending or voting to table, are we going to address the charter as it stands and vote on that? Or are we not doing that?
We can most certainly do that.
Okay, so I would offer that we should do both because I want to see where the board stands on either option.
Like a motion?
I would like to make a motion to vote on the charter as it is written.
Well, a point of order. First motion was to table, which was second.
Okay, so you did second it?
I seconded Dr.
Okay.
Singh's. So I believe that is the first.
Okay, so as part of the discussion then, now we'll move to, so we have a first on the table, a second on the table, any discussion on the table? Dr. Spicer added discussion about that. Is there any further discussion on tabling this?
There will be no discussion and nothing happening between now and November, correct?
Well, that's my question. Are we tabling it for a
I mean,
month?
that's what tabling would mean.
No, it would table it for now. And then if we're at the special meeting, whenever we call it,
We have to have a second amendment. We'd have to have a second motion
I was
to that. We don't have a motion on the table for that.
Okay, I'll make the motion then
to do what?
to have a special meeting.
Don't need a motion. The rules call for any person can call a special meeting. So we don't need to vote on having a special meeting.
Okay.
One person can call the special meeting.
Okay.
We should all try to do it collaboratively.
Yes.
About what the best date is.
Yes.
Okay. So I think the motion.
For the special meeting, do you need majority board?
No.
Right?
Well, not the way I'm reading it.
Yes, if we're going to make any decisions, it has to be,
What policy are you looking at?
1520, special meetings of the board shall be held on call by any member of the board.
It's accurate.
A reasonable and good faith effort shall be made by the superintendent or the board president, as the case may be, to give every member of the board 24 hours notice of the time, place, and purpose of the meeting. All special meetings will be held at a regular meeting place of the board and/or in accordance with provisions of the open meetings law. In an emergency, 24 hours may be waived. Public notice and the time and place to be given to the extent practicable to the news media and shall be conspicuously posted in one or more designated public locations at a reasonable time.
Okay.
The
so
quorum
is
part,
there-
I'm sorry,
Is there
that
any
was my
further,
confusion.
discussion on the tabling, which would be no later than the November, whatever 12th meeting is thinking, November 12th meeting? So is there any further discussion on tabling this? Okay. All in favor of tabling this to no later than the November 12th meeting? Dr. Singh, Mr. Manna, Ms. Bleckinger, Mr. Biscaglia, and Ms. Fletch. So motion carries. Any opposition? Mr. Bulin, Ms. Pulin? and myself and Dr. Spicer. So the motion carries to table 5-4.
So I would like to propose a special meeting to be held
Okay, yes.
2 weeks from today, 22nd at 6 p.m. for the purposes of determining which method the board will choose in order to choose the students who will sit here and be a member of the ex officio member of the board.
It's the NISBA convention.
Okay, then that's why we work collaboratively. Okay,
So the 23rd or 24th or?
either work for me.
I can send this out to the group so we can sort out a date prior to.
So look at the 24th.
Okay, we have not determined a specific date. What our district clerk has agreed to do is to float some dates to all of us so we can decide about the date. But the special meeting request has been noted.
And prior to that, if the president wants to amend the charter based on tabling it and based on the board may pick a method to have something ready to go, or I'd be happy to take my stab at editing the charter, or can only the president do the charter?
No. So what I'm hearing you say is we could potentially leave the charter as is and then have a second draft that would allow for the board to make the decision on the method, and then from there on it goes to.
So we could vote on both at the special meeting, either your charter, because we don't have the votes to do whatever, or an amended charter based on the board choosing what path to go down.
Okay. It's really just a matter of striking some of the language.
Yeah,
from-
that's all. No, everything you did, it's very good, except for some of the time things and the thing. Yeah, I think you did a great job on this. And again, I want to make it perfectly clear. You're a wonderful president. I support you. I don't think your intent was to exclude members of the board. I think you heard from the board members that they want to be more included more, and I think that's a positive thing.
Okay, so now I'm sorry, I'm not in my script anymore.
We're outside the box.
We have tabled this item, and we are moving on to item 6C. The board liaison assignments are listed in board docs. Thank you, board members, for the prompt submission of your reports. And please remember that a school liaison is expected to attend a minimum of 3 PTA meetings and 2 events. If you are unable to attend an assignment, please let us know so we can secure a substitute for you. And this is especially important for the ECASB meetings in order to ensure a quorum is present. Does anyone else have any questions or comments under this item? Okay. Item 6D. Oh, I'm so sorry. I looked that way and I didn't see it. Vice President Poulin.
I am going to be at the NISBA conference on October 21st, and that is the date that the Forest Elementary School has their PTA meeting. So I will not be able to attend, and was wondering if someone would be able to attend in my place on that
Can you
day.
say the date again?
It's Monday, October 21st.
Would, but I can't.
Okay.
I would. Of course.
Oh, no, I have another one.
Okay.
I have another one too.
All right, I will let Forest know that they will not have a school board representation on that meeting, so, and be sure that they get the notes.
Okay, any other? Yes, Mr. Biscaglia?
I sent out an email, but October 16th for Maple West, I'm coaching a soccer game for my school, so I'm unable to make that one if anyone can do that one. If not, I can inform them, but it's October 16th.
I can cover out to 16th.
Oh, you could? Okay.
Dr. Singh will cover October 16th for Mr. Biscaglia at Maple West.
Yep. Thank you.
Anything else? Mr. Bulin?
October 10th for High Middle. I got called out of town. I can't make that.
I'll be at it.
I have one then.
October 10th?
What time?
No, I understand. I think it's 6 o'clock at the. I'm sorry. Hang on. I lied. 7 p.m.
I can make it work. If
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
so, it's
Okay, so Dr. Spicer covering for Mr. Bulin, October 10th at High Middle.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Anything else on this item? Okay, we're moving on to 6D. Policy Committee meeting is on November 4th. 6E and 6F, ECASB and NISBA items are in board docs. For ECASB, is there any interest in attending the events that are listed in board docs, which are the Rick Timms event on October 17th, the Albany update November 2nd, or the legislative breakfast on November 16th? If you could let Mrs. Carey know if you are able to attend one of those, that would be great. Under NISBA, there's the proposed NISBA resolutions that Ms. Bleckinger will be voting on our behalf at the October 10th annual business meeting. Does anyone have any discussion regarding those proposed resolutions? Dr. Spicer.
it was a deep dive into the resolution. So it was brought up that that there was sorry, I'm going to get the language wrong. So that NISBA's resolution is to, for one particular one, is to reject, I'm sorry.
It's resolution.
President, if you can-
Yep, no, that's okay. I
Help me with
have
the
this right
words.
here. It's proposed resolution number 22, that they oppose the proposed amendment, that NISBA would, if this passes, oppose the proposed amendments to section 135.1, 135.4, and 135.5 of the Commissioner of Education's regulations related to mixed competition.
So, I think I don't know if other fellow board members took the deep dive as well, just to look at, some of the things that came up in this, as far as, not just the policy, but the process that each school would need to follow as far as, addressing mixed competition. But I think, we should take note of NISBA's rejection and then the DEI committee's rejection of their rejection.
So
if I'm saying that appropriately.
So yeah, the proposed resolution number 22 was recommended by the NISBA resolution committee. So they're recommending that that be opposed because that's how the resolution is worded. However, their DEI committee was opposed to this proposed resolution, if that makes sense.
Was the DEI committee was proposed to their objection?
Well, they were opposed to the resolution itself, which opposes the proposed amendments.
Got it. So it's a double.
Yeah.
That hurts.
So in other words, the NISBA resolutions committee says, yes, we think we should move forward with opposing the proposed amendments. And the DEI committee said, no, we should not move forward with opposing the proposed amendments, is my understanding.
The DEI committee is supporting the proposed amendment.
They didn't say that. They just said they were opposed to the resolution. They didn't specify.
So my concern is that the two groups are not on the same page. So going into vote, like putting our vote forth to support one or the other, I don't think they have enough information, a lot of information, but I don't think they have enough information as to why to reject or not oppose, but reject the rejection. So I would be concerned about voting in the affirmative, which is what we typically do as a board.
Correct. So if we were voting to support this resolution, if Ms. Bleckinger voted yay on this proposed resolution, then NISBA would oppose those. That would be their stance, an official stance to oppose those proposed amendments. Is there any other conversation regarding this discussion?
I would have a hard time voting to support that, just to vote yay on that as well, particularly because the DEI committee has raised the concern.
There's a lot of really great points made, and it is a really complicated issue on a lot of levels of, ability to play, qualifications to play, accessibility to sport, and things like that. So they're really great arguments. The opinion letters that are written have a lot of detail in them. But again, I would feel the same. I would struggle to support the rejection because then there's no progression.
And I am also hesitant to support that proposed resolution. And so if this resolution does not get passed at the annual business meeting, then NYSBA will not take a stance, is basically what happens. So anyone else that has an opinion to share on this before we move on? Okay. So Ms. Bleckenshire, again, you're voting on our behalf. So, but you can use your discretion. Okay. So let's move on to item 6G. Correspondence was received regarding Heim Elementary School and Middle School protocols and East High School homecoming information. Now we are moving to our consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the agenda items 8 minutes, 9 personnel, 10 business and finance, and 11 exceptional education, student needs, and student activities as presented? Ms. Bleckinger, second. Mr. Bulin, any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. We approve the appointment of Assistant Principal Patrick Smith at North High School this evening, just now. Congratulations, and you are welcome to step up to the podium to say a few words if you'd like.
First off, thank you. Thank you to every member of the board. Thank you to everybody throughout the process. It's an absolute honor to be joining North. As a member of this community, we chose this community for my family, my 2 boys that both attend Dodge. I get to see firsthand how amazing these kids are, how amazing these families are, and everything you do for your kids. I promise I will do what is best for each and every child at North, and you have my word on that. Thank you very much again, and go Spartans.
Oh, thanks. Love your tech. Close.
If you wouldn't mind, we're going to take a I would like to thank the following retirees for their service to the district. Claire Camardo, teacher aide, Heim Elementary School for 9 years of service. Marcus McIntyre, laborer, East High School for 25 years of service. And Kathleen Sapienza, clerk typist, East High School for 20 years of service. We're now moving on to item 12A. May I have a motion to take from the table for the second reading of Policy Update 3410 Code of Conduct and retire policies 5240 School Tax Assessment and Collection / Property Tax Exemptions, 7310 School Conduct and Discipline, 7312 Student Dress Code, 7590 Head Lice, 8211 Prevention Instruction, 8230 Guidance Program, 8270 Instructional Technology, and 8440 Homework as presented. Vice President Poulin, Mr. Bulin, is there any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. May I have a motion for the second reading and adoption of these same policies? Dr. Singh, Mr. Manna, any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. May I have a motion for the first reading of policy updates 7110, comprehensive student attendance, 7221, participation in graduation ceremonies, 7440, student voter registration and pre-registration, 7360, religious expression in the instructional program.
8360.
Did I say the wrong number again? 8360, religious expression in the instructional program. 8450, home hospital or institutional instruction, in parentheses, homebound instruction, and 8470, home instruction or homeschooling as presented. Vice President Poulin, Ms. Bleckenshire, any discussion? I had discussion. I move to amend policy 7110, comprehensive student attendance, as under its heading description of strategies to meet objectives of the district, letter B. I'd like to strike that. And actually, I'm going to take back my motion. The reason I would like to strike that is we have already created the policy, and that item B talks about creating the policy, which doesn't make any sense. So I would like to strike that as written and to add in its place, develop comprehensive student attendance procedures that are articulated in writing at each building and reviewed annually. So again, moving to strike B as written and to add in its place, develop comprehensive student attendance procedures that are articulated in writing at each building and reviewed annually. Is there a second? Ms. Bleckenshire, is there any discussion on this amendment? All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. May I have a motion for the first reading of policy 7110, comprehensive student attendance as just amended, and policy updates for 7221, 7440, 8360, 8450, and 8470 as presented. Ms. Bleckenshire, Mr. Manna, any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. May I have a motion to table these policies for the second reading and adoption at the November meeting? Dr. Spicer, Dr. Singh, all in favor? Motion carries unanimously. There are no matters to discuss under items 13, 14, and 15. We're now on to item 16. Does anyone have any matters to discuss under committee of the whole? Seeing none, we'll move on to our second public expression. If anyone in the audience would like to speak at this time, please step up to the podium. Seeing none, we will move on. We are now on item 18. This concludes our regular board meeting. The next scheduled regular board meeting is November 12th. Is there a motion to adjourn the regular board meeting? Ms. Fletch, second, Mr. Bulin. Any discussion? Dr. Singh.
Just one thing, I just wanted to wish our community happy Diwali, which falls on November 1st.
Thank you so much. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Good night, everyone.